Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Dental Realist podcast. I am Dr. Ryder Waldron, and I'm here as usual with Dr. Marcus D. Neff and Dr. Troy Stevens. Troy, how's it going tonight?
Going really well. Glad to be back podcasting. It's been a little while and really missed you guys.
Yeah, we took a hiatus from dentistry and from podcasting because we just wanted to be safe. Marcus, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've got an N95 mask on, a face shield, a hairnet.
I knew you would. And you
Get
don't
your
even have
gown.
hair.
Put your gown on.
Yeah, I'm wearing my nightgown. If that helps.
And you have a nightgown. Okay.
Yes.
He's got his moo-moo on.
He has his air purification system going in the background, I hope.
Safety
Mhm.
first. I can hear that hum.
Yes, indeed.
So we're all back to work now. We're going to talk about that. But first of all, I want to get to what's really important. And that is that it is the 40th anniversary today of The Empire Strikes Back. We kind of texted about this today. Do you guys have any favorite memories of The Empire Strikes Back? And where would you rank this movie in the pantheon of Star Wars movies?
That's a good
Wow.
question.
Wow.
I liked the Ewoks.
Okay.
I didn't mind them as much as some people.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of Ewok hate the last few years. I like the Ewoks. They're just
Yeah,
fun.
they're all right.
If I'm not mistaken, Ryder goes to the Comic Cons dressed as an Ewok.
I do not go as an Ewok. That is an evil rumor that you two started, I think. I
Just making
go
sure.
I go shirtless as Darth Maul.
Ooh,
Oh,
what
I'm sorry.
interesting.
Yeah.
Also not
Ewok,
true.
Darth Maul, same thing.
Crossover.
Yeah.
I think the Empire Strikes Back, I'd probably put it in the top 3. I don't know that I'd call it the best one, but I think it was a really solid follow-up, I thought.
Yeah. Probably the best sequel ever made, I would say. But yeah, it's my favorite Star Wars movie, but what about you, Troy? Any thoughts on The Empire Strikes Back?
I really enjoyed the big fights, the AT-ATs and that kind of stuff, and
Sure.
how they would take them things down, because that was our first time seeing those really large, structures of the Empire, and the snow scenes and all that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
As far as ranking it, I would have to say it's probably number 2,
Oh. Okay.
because
Well, what's number 1?
A New Hope
Okay.
has
Fair.
to be, because that's the order I saw them in.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
so,
New Hope, another good one.
when I'm 7 years old watching a Star Wars movie, that sequel was absolutely pretty awesome, to be able to see that again.
Yeah.
And so I would say, that's kind of the way that I like them, is in that order.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we've been starting off by talking about like our favorite, I think our favorite candy. What is, I don't even know if I know this about you guys. What's your favorite movies of all time?
I was worried you were
Like-
going to ask me what my favorite dental procedure was.
Yeah, no,
I know.
None,
Wow.
none of the above.
That's hard to rank.
No, do each of you have a favorite movie of all time?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
I wonder if I could guess Marcus's, but let's go ahead and
Prepare yourselves.
I am prepared.
I think I might know it too.
I think
Let's
I
see
might
if we're
know
right.
this one.
Yeah, let's see
Yeah.
if we're right. Go ahead, Marcus.
The hills are alive.
Yep,
with
that's
the
what I
sound
thought.
That's what I thought
of
too.
music.
That was mine, and I regret even asking this question now.
And why did you bring that up? I mean, wow.
Gosh.
You uncultured pigs.
I
even
used to,
Close
You know what?
to the top of my list.
yeah, not even in the top 1,000 probably, but whatever.
So
Not even the
just-
top 1,000
we
musicals.
might have blurbed it out a little bit. Marcus, can you please just announce that to the world? What is your favorite movie again?
The Sound of Music.
Oh, whoa. Wow.
Okay. Troy,
Anything
can you make,
Rogers and Hammerstein, you got.
I don't know, maybe
Yeah.
I should go with Mary Poppins then.
well, Troy,
that's
can
not
you
a
clean
bad
this
one.
up a little bit and tell us your favorite movie? I don't care what it is. It can't be worse than The Sound of Music.
I would have to say I don't have a specific movie. I would just say a favorite series,
Oh,
maybe.
yeah, let's hear that.
And I have 2 that would probably be right up there, and the Lord of the Rings series,
Yeah.
and the
Mhm.
Star Wars. So
Excellent.
Those have probably got to be some of the best movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings. We saw, gosh, I know we saw the Fellowship of the Ring in dental school together. That was kind of the introduction for me to Lord of the Rings. I don't think I've ever read the book. I
Okay.
have since then. I'd read The Hobbit, or at least part of it before, but yeah, those Lord of the Rings movies, those are great.
Yeah, I enjoyed them.
Now, if they could just add some musical scenes to them where the orcs sing and
Start singing.
dance.
You took the words
Marcus
right
would
out
be
of my
like,
mouth.
yes, yes.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh boy.
Wow. I
Okay.
can't even comprehend how that could be your favorite, but all right, to each his own.
All right, I got one more question before we get into some important dental stuff. Do you guys have a least favorite pandemic catchphrase over the last few weeks? Things like new normal, social distancing, alone together, we'll get through this. Anything come to mind that you just hope you never ever hear again?
Maybe unprecedented. I feel like that's
Unprecedented.
overused.
Yes, that's an
Like there's
excellent one.
never been anything like this ever in the world, ever in the
Yes.
history of ever. This is
Yeah.
unprecedented.
I mean, how many things could you say that about? You could say that about uh, tons of stuff that's unprecedented. But yeah, anyway, yes. Okay, Troy, do you have one?
I hadn't thought of this before you just asked this question, but when you said new normal, my hair on my back of my neck stood up, and I felt sick to my stomach. So that I would have to say is the one that I would go with. New normal. I can't stand it. I can't stand this new normal topic, and that's what we're
Yeah.
discussing tonight. The
Yeah,
new
and
normal.
I think before I heard Marcus say unprecedented, I hadn't thought of that one, but man, that's a good one. I was going to go with new normal also, and I'm sick of people saying the new normal. It's just whatever.
I
We can
watched a
just go back to
webinar last night, and it was actually based on the new normal. I'll share some wonderful things that I learned last night from that.
Okay, cool.
I shared that picture with you guys today of the new N95 mask. If you can't get an N95 mask, use that one.
Yes.
It
It looked like something. I don't know. I don't know what type of mask that was. Like it looked like something like an exterminator might
I think he
wear,
called it
or
a PAPR, and I'm not sure exactly what that stands for. It's like a respirator.
yeah, it stands for you're a moron if you wear that. But
Yes.
whatever.
Powered air purifying respirator.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be perfect to have one of those on you.
Yeah,
You
bet.
wouldn't scare any children.
You come in like that. My gosh.
Yeah. Then Star Wars
All
would
right.
become reality.
Man, Star Wars would be the new normal, is what it would be. It'd be unprecedented new normal.
Yeah.
God. All right. Well, we're all back to work, and Marcus, this was your first week back to work, wasn't it? Like
was.
fully back to work, and you just been seeing emergencies. How did you feel going back to work on Monday? Nervous, scared, excited?
I, I liked I liked my life quarantined at home. I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, it was kind of a nice break away from people. So I don't know if nervous encapsulates it. That's probably not accurate.
He was probably angry.
Angry?
I was probably more annoyed than anything.
I have to go back to work.
Oh,
I
my
got to do
gosh.
this again.
I don't know. When this all started, I remember being extremely stressed out. And then when it was like, I only have to work a day or two a week seeing emergencies, this isn't too bad. And now,
If it wasn't for
I've
the
told
dang
you guys,
money.
yeah. Now I told you guys I've been working 5 days a week now, and it's rough. It's rough out there, guys.
Well, that's because you love it so much.
I have a passion for it. Troy, how did you feel? You've been back? What about your third week back or
Yeah,
something?
this is my third week. We started back May 4th when they released the thing on the 30th of April. So we went back on Monday, the 4th of May. I did not feel nervous. I felt like an idiot dressed up in all the weird gear.
Yes.
I can't stand the getting dressed thing. Let me preface this with we used to wear shirts and ties. My business partner and I, we kind of wanted, we didn't wear scrubs. We wanted to look more like we're not surgeons or something. I don't know what we were trying to do. Our consultants kind of helped us want to look that way. So now we have scrubs and hats on and masks. We always wear masks, but and then face shields. But I feel like I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm preparing myself for war or
Yeah,
something,
it's a lot of stuff
and
to
I
put on.
don't like it at all. I don't like it. I'm not nervous. I feel like I get back to work. I'm talking to people. Everything feels exactly the same as it did before.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem to be overly nervous. They may be a little concerned, but I I think that the quarantine for like I'll kind of be a little candid as well. The first couple weeks drove me crazy. I stressed to the hilt because of the unknown, right? You don't know if your business is going to be shut down for 3
Yeah.
months, 4 months,
Yep.
5 months. I laid off all my employees. That was not cool. So you had to do that so that they could get unemployment. And I'm sitting here going, man, are we going to go back to work? And what's the new normal going to be? And so, are people going to come back?
Yeah.
Are
Our
people going to be
patient's
afraid
gonna
to
come
come
back.
back? So I would say that my quarantine was more of a stress than a relief for sure. But that was, a different scenario. I'm not getting paid or anything, so that's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
And then Marcus had mentioned that he had heard over in Eastern Idaho there that there was some dental practices that weren't going to be opening back up because it had knocked them,
Yeah.
And they didn't have the buffer. So I'm like going, crap, is that going to be me? Am I going to be one of those statistics,
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That
so
was the
that was
scary
kind of
part.
scary.
Yeah, I kind of after about the first week or two, I kind of settled into homeschooling my kids and going to work at about, I don't know, 8 to 12 hours a week and seeing some emergencies and then kind of enjoying time off and then go back to work and it was just like, here we go and lots of hygiene patients that have been rescheduled and we started back up on May 1st and it's just been super busy ever since then because I'm doing a lot of crowns for people who's had broken teeth over the break and yeah, but I didn't feel too nervous. I think the first few emergencies I saw after we had to close down, I was a little nervous about that. But then, most patients have been really great. They're not acting weird. They're appreciative of us. And, we're obviously we already kept things clean and wore masks and everything like that. But I've been wearing eye protection and mask and I already wore scrubs. So that wasn't too much of a change. But I haven't gone to a shield yet. And I hope I don't have to. But
Mhm.
Marcus, have you been wearing all the garb that Troy's been talking about?
Yeah, so we've got disposable gowns, we've got face shields, N95 masks. We even have hair nets if people want to wear them. I tried using the face shield for the first several patients,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just too warm. Like I would just get all foggy, and
Yeah.
anyway, I couldn't see real great,
Yep.
and that's not a knock on the person who made it. It just is too much.
We're
So I've
just
just
not
gone
used to it. Yeah.
I've just gone back to an N95 and I'm using that and I'm wearing my loops. And my
I
loops
find
have side shields and fit pretty close to my face, so I don't and I feel pretty safe.
Yeah. I don't feel like I'm gonna get something. I don't feel
Right.
I don't it's weird. I just am not paranoid like that. And I figure if I do, and I'm not. I mean, that's the way dentistry's always been. We are on the 99th percentile of coming in contact with stuff in every chart that we've ever seen since the dawn of time. You
It's
know,
Yeah.
true.
dentists are always in the face of contagion.
It's true.
Bloodborne, airborne, you name it, and we don't get that sick. Last night, the gentleman that was given the presentation, he's a physician. I've heard him many times. I've gone to some of his courses and stuff. And he said there is not a single case at this point in the U.S. of a dentist contracting COVID from being in the line of duty in the line of work.
Mm-hmm.
But he did preface that with, well, most dentists haven't been working the past month either.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
That's
So we
true.
don't
That's
we
fair.
don't we don't know. I mean, crying out loud. But the thing I'm with Marcus. This face shield junk, it gets you so hot and steamy in there. The ones that we had to get, I think you guys have them too, are not the real good high quality plastic we need for visibility. We can't get those. I'm curious as to how Marcus has got N95s and gowns. I can't even get those. I'm thinking your government
It's
clinic might have
connection.
different access.
Connections.
Yeah, working at a community health center, it seems like not that we have a ton, but it seems like we've got a pretty fair amount of PPE.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I can't get it through my supply chains. I can't get them.
Yeah, I can't find. I've got quite a few KN95s, but apparently a lot of those are probably not real. So who knows? I don't know. That's what the
You bought them
ADA
off
said.
eBay from China.com.
I bought them off the corner of some guy on the way to work one morning. No, I didn't do that. I got them off. I can't remember which website I found. I bought it from a couple of different websites, and I can't remember which. But yeah, I don't know. I've tried wearing a KN95 with a level 3 over the top. I've tried just sitting in my office wearing like an N95, and I mean, like it's probably a mental thing, but it does feel like all you're breathing is just carbon dioxide when you leave those things on for very long. I feel like I'm gonna pass out or something, and I know that's just because I'm used to wearing like a level 1 mask all the time. But yeah,
That's for real
I'm
though.
the same. I haven't felt
My front
in
desk
danger
lady
or
came
anything.
back today and she took her mask off and she just goes, "I'm getting a headache.
Yeah,
I'm having
yeah,
this
for
mask."
sure.
I mean, can you imagine you're breathing your carbon dioxide all day? That's not good for your brain. I did
Oh,
for the first 2 weeks. I did the same thing as you, Ryder. I had KN95s. I did not have N95s. I still don't have N95s. I was using a level 3 over the top of the N95 with my loops on and then my face shield, and I felt like I was like putting a plastic bag over my head and saying, okay, go in and do let's try and breathe and feel good and see well and perform a very highly technical
yeah.
procedure under these crappy circumstances. And so I'm like,
Okay.
there's got to be a compromise here.
So we were talking about Star Wars, and in A New Hope, when Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Obi-Wan and Chewbacca and the droids are on the Millennium Falcon, and Luke is doing some lightsaber training. Well, Obi-Wan gives him a helmet to put on with a blast shield, so he can't see the remote that he's supposed to be battling against, and he's just supposed to use the Force to fight off the blaster bolts. That's how it feels when you're wearing your loops, a shield, all these masks. It feels like you're just doing dentistry blind. You're just like relying on the Force to guide your hands to prep
Yeah.
these teeth, and it seems dangerous.
Yeah, my staff was asking, how are you doing it? And I go, it's all by braille. I go by feel. It's all just feel now. Maybe it is the Force.
It might be.
It might be the
You
Force.
may be Force sensitive. I wouldn't put it past you. Now, Troy, you have been watching about 1,000 webinars since we started, and most of those are about, at least the ones I've seen, are about how to reopen your practice or what type of PPE to wear. So if you two really hated yourselves and were going to punish yourself by watching a webinar, would you pick to watch one about reopening or about PPE use? Because I think I hate,
my God.
like I hate them both.
Really?
But what would be the worst form of torture?
And you guys think Sound of Music is bad?
Well, okay.
I know, right?
Would
I'd
you
rather watch
the
Sound of Music.
I'd
I'd rather watch
the
Sound of Music.
Yeah, I'd rather watch The Sound of Music. I used to like The Sound of Music. I haven't seen it in years. Maybe I need to revisit that. The Von Trapp family.
I'm gonna say
Yes, you do.
PPE.
PPE's the
Because
worst.
that's the one I've been paying attention to.
Yeah.
The reopening one, I
God.
just zone out. I don't have any desire to.
I mean, I watched, I don't know how many, one or two of those at first about reopening, and how many ways can these people tell us how to reopen our offices? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but all I did was schedule some patients and show up and unlock the door, and the patients came. There was nothing special about reopening. I mean, we had some policies put in place to ask them the COVID questions. We're having patients wait in their cars, and we call them when it's time for them to come in, and we're not overlapping patients quite as much. But did it really feel that difficult to reopen for you guys, or is it just me that it just felt easy or somewhat easy?
Yeah,
Let me just.
I don't think it
Go
was
ahead,
hard.
Marcus.
No, I was just gonna say it didn't seem that hard. I mean, we started calling people. They said they wanted to come, and they came. I don't know.
That's right.
You know, that I had like going on this webinar thing, I had an email the other day that said the only successful way to open your dental practice. Only, okay? So this guy knows something that none of us know.
Yes.
And I will not name names because I'm not going to do that, but I was just like, that's stupid. It's just like, I'll tell you, all of you listeners out there, this is how you reopen your practice. You have your front desk call your patients that you saw before this all went down, and you schedule them onto your schedule, and then you unlock your front door. That's how you get patients back in the chair.
I mean, the patients are already patients at your office.
I'm sorry, I just gave away secrets.
Hold on, Trey. Yeah, Marcus needs to make some notes. Can you go over that again?
I was trying to write that down. You were going too fast.
I was speaking too fast. Too many secrets there.
Oh.
Yes. Now, who do we mail the check to for that?
Yes. Just nail Dental Realist. Yes, just send it right over. I mean, we could do a webinar and make all that stuff up, but I'm telling you what, like, I had the exact same experience you guys have. Now, are there certain people that are not coming in? Absolutely. There are certain people that are still pretty skeptical and whatever, they want to give it more time. That's totally fine. But like you said, Ryder, I have been busier than I thought I would be. I'm like busier than I want to be right now because there's people that are finally just like, let's get this thing going. Let's get back on the, get back in the chair or whatever and quit messing around with this stuff. Yeah. But I mean, I haven't seen any real need to have any special program in my office to, get people back in the chair because you just call them and they come.
Yeah, and it just like goes to show that a lot of these people that dentists are paying money to work off of fear. Like we are scared that we can't operate a dental practice without relying on these consultants who have these magic potions. But on the other hand, this whole thing is unprecedented, as Marcus has said. And so how are these people at, whatever webinar service or consulting service, they've never been through this either. So how are they going to consult us on this? I mean, did they go through the Spanish flu pandemic back in 1918 and knew how to open up dental practices? And no, we've never seen this before. So why are we making this more complicated than it needs to be?
Yeah. What is it that they know that we don't?
Nothing.
I mean, have they reopened practices after pandemics before?
Yeah.
No, they have not. None of us have. We're all going through this together. We're all learning together. But all three of us, I think, have seen the same thing, that there is never. I have had less hygiene cancellations than I normally do.
Yeah, people want to get in.
I really have. I mean, it's weird. Usually we have holes in our schedule with people. Just say, crud, I'm going to go do this. And maybe it's because they can't do anything else. I don't know. But we've had less cancellations, and so it's like it's been pretty busy.
Yeah, and I've had people say, it's just nice to get back to normal. Like, I think people want to get to the dentist because it feels normal. That's what you do every 6 months, and most of them aren't scared. Some people are wearing masks and we're taking precautions, but I think people just want some semblance of normalcy, and dentistry is it. And we had somebody that no-showed yesterday for a hygiene appointment, and we had to reschedule her in September. That was the soonest we could get her in. It's just like there's just nowhere to put them. We've had to reschedule everybody, and it's
now
just
they're kicking
packed.
themselves for delaying it.
Yeah, and it was actually somebody that was kind of bugged that we had to reschedule her from like April. We had to bump her back a month into May, and she's like, May, that far out, and had to explain why. It's a pandemic, whatever, we can't work. Oh, okay, that's fine. And then she missed her appointment, and now she gets to come in September. So anyway. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting problem to have, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like booking people out that far, but you know what? I think for the most part, most of my patients have been absolutely reasonable.
Yep.
They understand that we are in unprecedented territory. You like that, Marcus? And just none of us, we're just trying to do what we can do, play by the rules, and we'll get through this. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I did see, I wanted to get your opinions on this, guys. So I saw that San Francisco dentists, and I don't know if that's just every dentist in San Francisco or the surrounding areas. I'm not exactly sure. but they have to have any patient that's coming in that may create aerosols. So anything except for maybe an emergency is what this news article said. They have to have a COVID test within 3 to 4 days, or 3 to 4 days prior to their dental visit. Um, how would this affect your practices, guys, if you had to do this? Because that seems insane to me.
Yeah. I, for one, where do they go to get these tests? I mean,
Yeah.
and then just the hassle. I mean, it's almost like they're trying to put up any roadblock they can to keep you from reopening in San Francisco.
Yeah, it does. I don't know if we have any San Francisco listeners. I'd love some input, but this would be tough for my practice because I've got people that want to get in. But in Utah, we have apparently a ton of available tests. But man, if you had to, I mean, some people might schedule their appointment the day before, and then we have to tell them, well, you can't come till next week. I don't know. That'd be kind of a strain on my practice, I think.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting, it's like, okay, I have a dental appointment oh crap, I gotta go get my COVID test.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, my wife has to have surgery on June 16th, and she has to go get a COVID test, of course, before a day before, and I understand that totally. However, routine things. So, for example, we have someone come in, say they have to get COVID tested. Okay, we're going to get a COVID test. They're going to come in and get their teeth cleaned. Oh, they have a restoration to do. We'll schedule them out a couple weeks, and then they got to get another one in a couple weeks. Is that?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, how are they going to do that? Another thing I'm wondering is if that is because of the area that they're in. In my county, there's 27,811 people, and there's been 30 cases.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's really, I mean, I know that there's been more people that have been sick, but that's how many we know had COVID. That's just so low.
It is.
So, maybe in the higher concentration areas, the New Yorks, the New Jerseys, the Bostons, the San Franciscos that have had a lot more, disruption from it.
Mm-hmm.
It may be more like that, but my patients, we've been asking those questions and everything, and they've been straight up honest. And if they don't feel like they should come in, people have been traveling in different areas and whatnot, and they know that we can't see them for 14 days. They understand.
Yeah. Yeah. People are reasonable. My patients have been great about it. Very understanding. I also saw, this was a couple weeks ago, but we haven't podcasted for about a month or so. There was a report that the ADA had released that the virus may not even be contagious in the aerosols that are, floating around our office or whatever. So, I mean, a lot of this we just don't know about. It feels like nobody knows anything. And then I was talking to you guys about this CDC report today that said that COVID doesn't spread easily by touching surfaces and objects or from animal to human. It's just human to human contact, and we're not even sure what kind of contact it's contagious there. So I don't know. We've got to take these precautions, but it doesn't seem as scary. Some of this stuff doesn't seem as scary as we're meant to believe.
And there were some other facts that I found that on the virus. Apparently, it can travel 6 feet, but it can't travel 6 foot 1 inch or greater.
Yes.
It can live on all surfaces except anything that comes in the mail from Amazon.
Definitely.
It doesn't live in Target, Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's, or any grocery store.
Or any nursery, I'm noticing too.
The only places it's deadly is bars, restaurants, small businesses, hair salons, and especially churches. And it can't live on your food as long as you get it to go.
That's right. I've been able to get to-go food. You got a good point there.
These are things that I learned today.
This just went from a dental podcast to a lifestyle podcast, Marcus. Well done.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Awesome information. And when you say it like that, I want to say there's a lot of stupidity out there. I don't know. I mean, at first, when it first started, they were saying don't wear masks. Now they want everybody to be in a hazmat suit just to go outside and get your mail. I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. But
that's the problem. There's too much unknown. And the problem with being in quarantine is that you get so much time on the news and YouTube and all that crap that you see everything from this thing is absolute farce, conspiracy, government crap, to we're all gonna die, and you should never leave your house again ever.
It's
So you
true.
you get everything
Yeah.
in between there, and you have doctors speaking one way, you have dentists, for us following, the dental community, speaking one way. The reality is, who knows? We still need more time,
Yep.
but from what you can see, I mean, play the numbers. What do we have? We have just over 93,000 deaths in the USA, and there's 328 million Americans.
Yep. Yeah, it's true. I mean, and it seems like when I watch the news, it's like, oh my gosh, it's time to panic. We're all gonna die. And then I talk, like when I've started talking to my patients and stuff, they're just like, I'm being careful, but I'm not totally afraid. We just need to be safe. And it's like most of the people I talk to, it's just this clear, rational thinking that, if I go in a Walmart, I probably have a greater chance of catching it there than if I go into my doctor's office. Yep, that's probably true. But the Walmart parking lot is packed, and people are afraid to go get an elective surgery. So, it just feels like if you just take a deep breath and think a little bit, then you're probably going to be just fine. I don't know. But what do I know?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is I want to err on the side of caution for the fact that I do not want to be that asymptomatic guy that gives it away. Of course,
Yeah.
but let me just tell you, how do you know you're asymptomatic and you got it? You don't.
You don't.
That's the problem. I mean, the
Yeah,
reality
you
is
don't.
that
Yeah.
nobody wants to harm anyone. That's the reality. There isn't a single person that I would consider a normal person that would want to go out and harm anybody in any way, shape, or form. I mean, I know that there's evil people that do that, but the reality is how are you going to stop people from just walking around and doing stuff when you could have it and you don't even know it?
Yeah, it's true. Just stay in your house all the time.
But the comforting thing is that it's only killed 0.03% of the American people at this point. So the death is low. That's still terrible that people die from this. But like I was reading or watching a molecular biologist talking on the internet about this. He says life is such that there is death. There's nothing we can do that's going to stop everybody from dying
Yeah.
from terrible diseases. We can help stop, slow it, whatever, but people are going to get sick and people are going to die, and unfortunately, that's part of life.
Yep. It's an
Can't
unfortunate part of
stop
life.
living.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's the interesting thing. I have had my elderly patients tell me this, that it's like, this is the way it is. I'm 81, I'm 82, I'm 85, whatever they are. I've been through sicknesses, I've been through stuff, and we never shut anything down.
Yeah.
And they're pretty reasonable, like you said, when they talk to me about it, and they understand that there is some risk going out, but they are like, this isn't the world that I want to live in. I want to live in a world where people are friendly to each other, we can talk to each other, and not be totally paranoid to, shake someone's hand or go help them do something and all that stuff. So there's a huge variance in what we're seeing with different people.
It is interesting because I've noticed a lot of elderly people also that they want, like you said, they want to get on living, and I wonder if it's like that they've lived through so much and they have a limited amount of time left on Earth, and they want to get out and enjoy life. Like a lot of them said, I want to see my grandkids or my great grandkids, and this is killing me to not be able to. They said it's okay to see them on Skype or FaceTime them or something, but it's not the same. And they said this is not how I want. I just want to go see my grandkids and stuff like that. So that, I mean, I get that. That would really suck. I don't have grandkids, but I got kids, and even if I had to quarantine away from that, well, a few days might not be too bad. But permanently, I don't want to be like away from them all the time, and it would really be a downer and depressing and everything. So, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
crazy. It's crazy what's going on. I saw this one last thing that Troy, I think you and I talked about this business interruption insurance. We had talked. I think you had talked to your insurance carrier, and I did too, about practices being shut down because of something like this. And I think they told you the same thing they told me, is that they don't cover anything for a virus. That they said, my carrier said that Congress was trying to pass something that would force them to cover things like this, but they don't right now. I mean, we have coverage for like if our building burns down, things like that, but it's interesting that the insurances knew to put a clause in there that said it would not be covered for some sort of a pandemic. I would have never thought about that, but the insurances are always one step ahead of us, so they don't have to pay for stuff.
Yes, they are.
I don't know.
That's very yeah. I thought that was interesting too, because it is kind of an act of nature, kind of like a flood or that thing. It's not like we have any control over it.
Well, it depends on who you ask, but yeah, that's what I would believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We don't need to get into conspiracy theories tonight. We'll do that on the next episode.
But I mean, it's weird. Yeah, they didn't cover anything as far as actions.
And you guys,
the place burns down, they'll cover you.
Yeah, they'll cover that. And you guys saw that Pelton and Crane, I guess, is going out of business because of this. Yeah. That's crazy. I don't have any Pelton and Crane stuff, but Troy, you said you got some Pelton and Crane chairs, don't you?
All of my 10 operatories, all of them are Pelton and Crane chairs and 12 o'clock units, everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. I learned that this morning. I was like, what? Yeah, like they've been in business for like 100 years.
100 years or something like that. Like I wonder. I'm always curious when places like that go out of business when they're shut down for 6 weeks or something like that. Maybe they just couldn't get back up, and so I don't know. That's too bad. And it's really too bad because it limits the competition with ADEC and Maris and whoever else sells chairs and equipment, because that's one less competitor for them, and the prices can go up when that happens.
Yeah.
So
I really found that interesting.
Have you guys heard of any dentists that are going under in your areas or anything like that aren't coming back from this? You don't have to name names or anything.
A supplier early on in this told me that there were 2 or 3 in the area that I don't know if they have or for sure, but that's what he told me, that there were a handful southeast Idaho that wouldn't be coming back.
Hey, that's terrible.
I'd be interested to ask him if that's actually happened.
Yeah.
No, I haven't had any here in my area. Of course, I'm in pretty rural area too, but a couple of the guys worked into the shutdown a little further than they may.
Maybe should have.
Yeah, we decided to follow the governor's orders and just do that, and we, early on it was killing me. I'm like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
It's like you say, I can do dentistry on March 24th and be perfectly okay, but March 25th, if I do it, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was super weird. I could potentially contract COVID or to get a patient on the 25th, but not the 24th.
Yeah.
I understand it's a kind of a crazy way to think, of course, but the reality is I really questioned whether or not we should shut down. I was like, oh, this is dumb.
That's what I thought too, and we talked about this before. I thought the ADA was so stupid to come out and say that dental offices should shut down for 3 weeks. And that was like halfway through March. And then, our governor came out, I think it was a couple weeks after that, and told us, we had to shut down for about 30 days. And it's like, why couldn't the ADA have just let it rest on the governor's shoulders of each state, let them decide each state's actions? I don't know. It's weird. But, like you said, on April 30th at midnight, that virus went away and we were able to open up on May 1st. So perfectly fine, perfectly safe. Yeah. We're all good here. Yeah, it's amazing how those Marcus likes to talk about the arbitrary dates, and that's one of them right there. Some states are still not open. Their arbitrary I can't even say that arbitrary date has not come up yet.
No.
Yeah. It is weird. We understand. That's but it is strange. I'm not sure exactly what data they're going off of or whatever. But here in my area, like I said, it's been pretty low. We haven't had a big outbreak. I understand that, New York, the bigger cities that have been hit harder. That's why the ADA probably should have just allowed the governors of the state or the mayors of the cities, let them govern in those areas because they know what's going on in their areas, which is totally different. The guy last night that I watched this webinar had a little hotspot, kind of U.S. map up that showed, red in areas where it's hit hard, and the East Coast is just like completely red. And as you come west, it just kind of pitter patters and sprinkles throughout. So definitely not as bad hit until you get to the West Coast. But the Utahs, the Idahos, the Montanas, the Wyomings, we didn't have as much as everybody else. So why shut us down? But it is what it is. We'll look back and live and learn, I guess. And
So are you trying to say that we live in the chosen land, Troy? Is that what you're saying?
I don't want to actually say that out loud because then we're going to have an influx. But
I mean, look
rural.
at the data.
It's more rural. There's not as many people here, of course. Which definitely helps in a pandemic situation. That's a good thing.
It definitely helps when you're trying to social distance and trying to stay alone together or together alone. Trying to quarantine and lock down.
Farmer patients that say, "Yeah, my next door neighbor's 10 miles away." I've been practicing social distancing ever since I moved to Idaho.
I gotta say, if social distancing keeps up, I'm just fine with that. I don't have people knocking on my door unannounced. People are staying away from me at the grocery store. I'm good with that.
You don't have people shaking your hand right after playing with their dentures.
No hugs. Yeah, people aren't setting their dentures down on the countertop in the front office. Yeah.
That's another thing is you wonder how have we survived this long?
It's serious.
I mean, you see it in the supermarkets. You see it everywhere. Where people sitting there playing with their teeth, picking their nose, playing with everything known to mankind, putting it in their mouth. I mean, if I had a denture, I would not set it on a dentist cabinet and then pick it up and put it in my mouth.
No.
I'm like, let me wash that off. And he's like, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude.
Wow. You're never gonna die from anything.
No way, man. That's boosting the immune system.
Yeah, you bet it is. When this first started, I had to go to the grocery store and I saw a guy in there wearing a mask, but he was in the banana section, the produce section, touching the bananas. He was touching all the bananas, picking them up and looking at them, and they put them down. Like, good heck, dude, you're touching all those things that people are going to take home. So, I don't think anybody got it from that. Maybe they did. I don't know. But
that's terrible because I wash my apples and my pears, but I do not wash my bananas.
I don't either.
Maybe that's why we're immune to everything.
You bet it is. You bet it is.
Just thinking about it. Thanks. Now I'm never going to get out the banana.
One other thing, I saw a lot of people coming down from Idaho selling Idaho potatoes in our parking lots here in Utah because apparently the stores were out of potatoes. Trying to put those bad potatoes down here. I mean, everybody knows that the Wisconsin potato is the best potato, right?
Ryder,
please. Do we need to talk about
there are 89 acres of potatoes in a field around me right now. High quality.
Mediocre potato. No, I always go for an Idaho potato. You bet. I'd look for that Idaho potato.
Yes, you do.
Well, I have a patient of mine that has been suffering from this because of the fast food industry has taken such a hit. People aren't making those French fries. He told me that he had 100,000 bags of potatoes that he couldn't sell.
Oh
my gosh.
That's a ton of potatoes. That's one farmer.
Wow.
I don't know how big the bags were. I didn't ask him the details on that, but he's like, because they have a specific time frame that they have to sell them in. And he says, yeah, I'm really struggling. I've got 100,000 bags of potatoes that I cannot sell.
Wow. That's amazing.
That is tough.
Huh. Dang.
So, Ryder.
Well, hopefully.
I got a contact for you. You can have all the potatoes you want.
Jeez, yeah. Give me some of those Idaho potatoes. We apparently can't get any down here. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, do you have any more words of wisdom to impart to the listeners? Any advice on how to reopen or PPE coverage? Yeah, he did.
Sign up for Troy's webinar.
Yep. The reality of this whole thing is the fact that we will be told by OSHA, we will be told by the ADA, we will be told by the CDC what the new normal will be. And I can guarantee that it's not going to be like it was before. Even the ADA president said that the dentistry like we practiced in March is not going to ever return. Didn't he said something along that line? I'm paraphrasing.
Which yeah.
said that. So he's preparing us for something. To what extent? I mean, are we going to have to put air filtration systems in our office? Or are we going to have to, spread our patients out every 3 hours? If they do that, they might as well just say goodbye to dentistry in the United
Yeah.
States, because the model will not support that. But
Nope.
I mean, really, the
It's
reality
true.
is, at this point, we're still in an infancy stage. We do the best we can. We're using the best PPE we can. We've always been fantastic at infection control.
Yep.
Have you ever heard of a contagion getting out because of a dental office being dirty? The only
No,
time I
not
know
really.
is that oral surgeon
It,
in
it,
some, I can't remember where it was,
I
that
want to
was
say it was in
purposely
Colorado or
reusing
something.
stuff.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
it was in
that's
Colorado, but
yeah, that's stupid. Okay,
yeah,
that guy's dumb. He's in jail, of course.
yeah,
But most of us try and do everything we can to keep everything as clean as possible. Anyway, we're always wiping down surfaces, spray wipe spray. We're always wearing PPE. We always do this stuff. So hopefully we'll find that it works, and we won't have to go to crazy measures and have to be in full biohazard with negative pressure oxygen rooms, all that crazy stuff. But I don't know. What did
yeah.
you guys, maybe just close on that? Get your take on what did you guys take from President's comment about that the dentistry as it was practiced in March will not happen again to that
Well,
extent.
I felt the same way that they're preparing. They're laying the groundwork for something. But then I think, you say things like that, but why couldn't it go back to how it was in March? I mean, we're going to have to take these extra precautions. Maybe we're going to be calling people in from their cars for a while or things like that. But why couldn't it go back to how it was? The only reason it
Yeah.
couldn't is because you're saying it couldn't. The other thing is that, the ADA acts like they're this all-knowing dental conglomerate, and they don't even have every dentist as a member of their organization. It's a dues-paying organization that doesn't always represent what dentists have in their best interest. So, I'm a little, I'm getting kind of bugged by the ADA lately, but that's what I think. I mean, just because you put it out there, then it makes it like kind of seep into our brains that, oh, this is never going to be the same, and what's coming down the pipeline now. I don't know. What did you think, Marcus?
The only entity that has authoritative power over you as a dentist is your state board of dentistry.
Yes.
They're the ones that allow
Yes.
you to have a license and practice dentistry in your state. So
Absolutely.
whatever the ADA says, whatever the CDC says, whatever OSHA says, great. And I get that usually your state dental society is going to fall in line with what those entities recommend. But if they don't, and you're comfortable doing what you're doing, you follow what your state board says, and you're going to be okay legally, I would think.
Yeah, legally,
And I'm not a lawyer.
that's what
We're not giving legal advice. I'm just
yeah.
saying.
But that's what I would think too. And I told my staff when we came back that, anything that comes from maybe the ADA and the CDC, until it's law by our governor or by, the board, then it's mostly just a recommendation, a suggestion. But what we need to follow is like what our malpractice insurance says, what our state government says, and, what our state board who gives us our dental license says. Other than that, the ADA, they really act like they control all dentists, but all dentists are not members of the ADA. And so I don't know how they can just throw this stuff out there and act like every dentist needs to follow it.
I agree. You guys, very, very well said. I think that I kind of follow along the lines of what my business partner's been practicing dentistry for 30 years. With, we've been using universal precautions since the 80s.
So he's
with the
probably
hepatitis
been,
and the HIVs and all that stuff.
and
Granted, I
was he
do understand.
practicing, sorry, Troy, was he practicing like when they didn't have to wear masks, or was that, or
Yeah,
gloves?
he just got into it. He got into it just as that has come into place in the 80s.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just with the tail end of the 80s, so he was wearing gloves and masks and stuff. But and I know those are bloodborne pathogens, not airborne pathogens. But there are many, many different types of coronavirus, right? And they're all aerosolized. There are many types of flu, and they are all aerosolized. They are contagious. Maybe certain we don't know the exact extent of the contagion nature of this COVID-19. However, we've been dealing with this stuff since we've ever started using universal precautions in the 80s. and we still haven't had a tremendous amount of outbreak in a dental setting, right?
Yep.
I mean, has anybody ever got the flu or the cold or something from some of the dentals? Maybe.
Yeah.
But, we no one ever, pinpoints it to that or whatever. But I just don't know. I hope that they use some reason and the model to be able to keep us viable, because the way that the ADA has allowed insurance to dictate treatment, and they have allowed, other forces into dentistry to make decisions for us. If they make these decisions for us, they could kill us off, because, we don't have a lot of wiggle room right now. We've all managed our practices to the point where we can be somewhat efficient. We see a lot of people, right? The new model with insurance company is see more people. It's not see less people.
Yeah.
And if they throw all this PPE in there that makes it so hard to, if I have to change gowns 3-4 times in an hour because I've got 3 or 4 different patients, that's going to kill productivity, efficiency, and it's not going to be possible in the current model. And you guarantee that insurances aren't going to have their bleeding hearts. Oh, the poor dentists are not getting enough money reimbursed, And
absolutely.
So what do you guys see that as a problem as well? I mean,
absolutely.
We're supposed to be seeing 1 billion people to make this insurance model even work. So I see it as a huge slowdown of practice, and a profitability is going to tank if you can even stay viable.
But profitability for insurance companies is really going to go up, because people are still going to pay the same premiums, but they aren't going to have to pay out as much if we have to spread patients out and things like that. So,
that's a great point.
I mean, it's, and we don't usually have people overlapping at our office that much. It's not my office isn't that huge. And so, I feel like the possibility of somebody catching something is pretty low. We don't even have like an open concept operatory system or anything like that, just separate rooms. And so I don't know. Who knows what'll happen? Who knows what the new normal will be? But I can guarantee it'll be unprecedented.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
That is a great way to end.
Well, why don't we wrap it up, guys? Marcus, do you want to tell everybody where to find us?
Indeed. We are on Facebook. You can find us on there. We also have a couple of books out. So You Want to Be a Dentist, and the other book is So Now You're a Dentist. You can reach out to us at dentalrealist@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on our episodes, things you'd like to talk about. We love hearing from our listeners.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. It's been a nice long episode, and it's been good to get back. We had to watch a webinar on how to come back to podcasting before we did this, so it was great. Took us a while.
So. How to safely podcast.
Yeah, safely, yes.
The only way to return to podcasting after the quarantine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so this has been episode 48, and we will talk to you on episode 49. Thanks.